December
December
actually
28th?
28th.
This is like 4 days after we met?
4 days, not 4 dates.
4 days.
Days.
So this is my attempt to scare Darlene off. Hi, Darlene. I'm very interested in your reaction to this. David. And then I pasted in my requirements. There's this principle of the universe called the law of attraction. And, you know, many people think it's woo-woo, but without the law of attraction, the universe wouldn't stay together. It would literally, fall apart. So there is this principle of the universe called law of attraction. And in terms of us humans, law of attraction means like attracts like. It also means what's inside shows up on the outside. And so you can't hide yourself. And if you try to present yourself to be different than who you are you going to attract? Somebody who's not a good fit for you.
So in order to get to the vision statement, you said, oh, it's going to be so easy because you just combine the previous 6 things
Yes.
that you already wrote about.
Yes.
Which are shared values,
Yes.
what I want for my partner and I, lifestyle, how I envision us living, our
Yes.
environment,
Right.
work, and describing the role of work and
Mm-hmm.
career in your vision, family, what family is going to look like, and fun, interests and activities, and then finally, how you're going to be living your day-to-day life in alignment with your life purpose, which I hadn't finished writing the life
Right.
purpose yet, and so that was stressing me out. And I'm like, but you're telling me it's going to be easy to do this, but there's such a big part of this that needs to go into it. So it's just like,
Yeah, I get that.
explosion.
How would you summarize your vision?
Well, the vision, it was funny because originally when I was doing the homework in the workbook, I think there were 6 different element components that you
Right.
kind of do a chunk and a chunk and a
Right.
chunk and then you weave it all together.
Yeah.
One of the questions was like, paint the picture for your happily ever after. And I was like, well, wait, I already have that. And so I, searched it on my computer and then I cut and paste that over.
So it's a full support system emotionally.
Yeah.
And would you be able to offer that back to your partner?
Of course.
Okay, and then romantic means a lot to different things to many people. What does that look like for you?
Romantic to me could be anything from coming home early from work to flowers to having dinners to surprising me going out. Could be anything. To me it's not what is being done but how it's being done.
Is it constant signs of affection, what they
That-
often
that's
call
romantic also,
PDA,
yes.
public
Yeah.
displays of affection, or
romantic.
private affection?
There's so many different areas of romantic, but it's like something that it's a feeling. It's not like a physical, like bringing me flowers or taking me to dinner. Yes, that's romantic, but that's not the romance I'm thinking. I'm thinking about what's the feeling behind it that's being given to me, and vice versa.
My vision is to co-create with my partner, doing work we love to help others, whether it's teaching or just simply entertaining. I love to educate and inspire. We live and work together in a fantastic, spacious home with lots of light and an incredible studio where we collaborate on creative projects. We have 2 big dogs running around the house. I love that visual so much. My babes, my little boys,
Yeah.
they're going to be 2 big boys, and family visiting from out of town and staying in our guest rooms. I said spacious.
Yes.
And they're going to have their own wing.
Oh, I like that.
So they could,
It's going to be a big house.
3 to 4 days max on the
Okay.
visits.
The biggest thing was coming together of 2 people who have shared values and commitments that would then allow each of us to be more for each other. Well, no, for ourselves first. And so an expansive quality for ourselves and then for each other in our relationship, but then also for the world, So, and there were parts about laughter and smiling and depth and meaning and being champions for one another and good stuff.
And always, and this is probably the most important part of all of this, always make it a point to use kind, loving words and actions with each other and our extended family and friends. Because I think it's so easy when you're with somebody to get into a routine where it becomes like you just almost start to be roommates and you don't treat each other with respect
Kind
anymore.
of take for granted each other.
Yeah, you take each other for granted.
Yeah.
And that totally happened in my family where it was like we were just like really like bleh with each other, but then we would be so kind with strangers. But I want that to be inside my family.
Sounds like a pretty good life full of a lot of balance.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. It'll be great because
Yeah.
I'll have a nanny and assistants and
So the nanny for the dogs?
well, if there are children involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't
So you're
include
open to
that because
that.
we don't
Yeah,
know.
Right.
The perfect day exercise is a vision exercise. So it's really hard if you ask somebody, well, what's your vision for your life and your relationship? What is the life and relationship that you want to create? I can't tell you what my perfect life would be just off the cuff, but I can tell you what my perfect day would be from the minute I get up till the minute I go to bed. And it all is in service of your vision, because whatever comes up for you is going to be your vision of your ideal life.
So, my perfect day starts with waking up on our own time. He is beside me, and we have time. And so we're able to appreciate things like the fact that we're sleeping with windows open, and we can hear the birds, and we can see like blue sky, and the kind of drapes are kind of wafting in the wind. There are projects that we're working on that are each our own. But then there's also projects that we work on together that we're really passionate about. There are deliveries that arrive that we're really excited, like whether it's like a new product or a new book or something. I put as we bring our days to a close, we share insights and updates over a wonderful meal. I would love, love, love a man who cooks. That would be amazing. Or barbecues or does anything, knows how to order. And then the last thing I have is that we relax in the hot tub with a glass of wine. And I love that because in the courtyard of my home, there is a great space with a hot tub. And so I didn't pick a day where like anything major happens. It was just like the magic of a typical day. It was either like the John Hughes movies or anything involving Meg Ryan. Those are the two things having kind of been what I grew up on.
Let's begin today's session with your life purpose statement.
Expressing my love and commitment to my family and myself, of trying to always be caring and loving person to those who love and appreciate me.
Okay. And you feel good about that? Does
I
that
do.
feel okay? Yeah. So, requirements are the essential ingredients in any good relationship. They are the events that have to be there for the relationship to work for you. They go by several different names other than requirements. Deal breakers. You look at a potential relationship, say, it doesn't have this, that's a deal breaker. Another thing that we talk about is we call them non-negotiables. You're not going to sit down with a potential partner and negotiate about something that, as far as you're concerned, has to be there.
Right.
It's required.
I have just 5,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
they're an essential 5.
Yes.
The first one is monogamy and fidelity, as they're sharing as one, and that's in stone. And number 2 is honesty. Number 3 is physical compatibility. Number 4 is a shared sense of humor. And number 5 is addiction free.
I had done lists upon lists. I mean, I'm a list maker by nature. So I had lists of needs and I had lists of wants, and I had spent a lot of time with that, but it had never included a list of requirements where, like, even if one is missing, then it doesn't turn out the way you want it to.
So Wendy, you have a list of requirements now. Can you just go through that list?
Somebody who is interested in a committed relationship as opposed to recreational dating. Somebody who has a close relationships with those that they care about. Like, I want them to have an existing support network and people that they hold dear. Someone who is self-aware and growth-oriented. Someone with a spirit of adventure. That he is financially stable. And then I have high school age or older, or no kids.
When you look at that list, how solid are you that all of those things are 100% required? And if somebody had all but one of those, would you stop the relationship with them?
To some degree, yes. And I am not interested in raising young children.
So that is a requirement because it's either met or it's not.
Right.
And it's a deal breaker. If you met somebody and he was fabulous and he had all the other requirements were there, but he had 2 young children that he was still responsible for raising, you would walk away from the relationship, correct?
I think I would. What I'm clear about is the amount of time and care and attention that goes into raising small kids is the time and care and attention I want to be co-creating purpose on the planet with somebody.
Okay, with you to talk a little bit about purpose and vision, and just to give us, what did you come up with as we were doing the exercises about what your purpose is?
Something like to be the love that I am. It's gonna choke me up. To be the love that I am as best as I can, and in doing so, to invite others to do the same.
So now that we have the purpose, how would you summarize your vision?
Well, the biggest thing was coming together of 2 people who have shared values and commitments that would then allow each of us to be more. It's not entirely fair to do this, but I used my 12 current requirements just to see, like, with my marriage, how that played out. And as soon as I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, we were doomed. Doomed from the start.
My vision of my future guy hasn't changed. It hasn't shifted. It's just become more clear, which is awesome. So the requirements, preferences versus, actual requirements is huge, because there were certain things that I think I was turning into a requirement that are really just a preference.
We have to understand very clearly what it is that we need in a relationship in order for it to work for us, right? Mm-hmm. And we call those requirements and needs and even wants. But the most important and the most powerful are our requirements.
Mm-hmm. I started with trust. That's huge.
Okay. Yeah.
Similar sense of humor.
Similar sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Self-awareness. Supporting each other's goals. Emotional intimacy. Mm-hmm. Loves dogs. Open communication. That's big.
Yeah.
Physically compatible.
Yeah.
The attraction is so big.
Yeah.
That's a requirement. And respect for each other's feelings.
Oh, yes. Yes, very important.
Because my several relationships in a row, there was a lot of dismissing of how I felt when I would express it, which was difficult for me to do. When I would finally show my soft underbelly, it was dismissed. Mm-hmm. And so the respect for feelings, I think, is huge.
How did, I have a feeling that changed you, that experience.
It did.
So tell me how. How did that change you?
Being dismissed?
Yes.
What I learned from it, it almost conditioned me temporarily to think that it's not going to help to be completely authentic and vulnerable with someone, because it's not going to lead to real love anyways. I was starting to think that that's actually how it's supposed to go. Like,
Oh,
I
boy.
just need to
Okay.
find somebody who I can tolerate. And I can't really be that, like, spiritually connected to them or, like, unveil, like, my deepest emotions to them because it's just, like,
And when you came to
not
that,
something somebody wants.
right, when you came to that conclusion, Michelle, what did you think about that?
It sucked.
I think you said that one of your requirements was emotional intimacy. What does that look like to you?
It's a nice tie-in with what I was just talking about, actually.
I have the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell
To
me
be
more.
able to, like, really reveal, like, what I'm really thinking about things. We don't always have to be talking deep. I don't. That's too much for anyone. Like, I want to have fun and have a light aspect to my relationship as well. But I think I want to be with somebody who is willing to go there, though, and to talk about, like, deep spiritual things, and for me to be able to share my past experiences or hopes for the future and not be laughed at or like, oh, that's silly, that kind of thing. Like, who do you think you are to think that you can do that? You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, maybe you're right.
It's no mistake that the subtitle to Radical Dating is breaking through barriers to find lasting love after 40. And it sounds to me like you put up some barriers
Yeah.
and you're beginning to break them down. How does that feel?
Scary.
I bet.
It feels scary to
Yeah.
break down the barriers.
Yeah.
Because now I'm putting myself back into a vulnerable position again.
I have to wonder what occurred to me was did you not feel that you deserved what you've had before? I know you've had it before. 'Cause
Yes,
we talked about
I
that.
have.
So what happened between then and where you are now?
It wasn't a thought, like a...
Yeah, conscious.
No, it wasn't like something that I like determined. I was like, oh, I just had this bad experience, and so therefore going forward, this is how I'm going to approach it. Like, it wasn't like that at all. I mean, it's just this like subconscious way. Like, I was just like flowing through my relationships.
And maybe it actually created some of your, not created, that's not the right word, but drove some of your choices in dating partners.
Possibly.
It's pretty simple. Like attracts like. And another way to put it that is meaningful to me is what's inside shows up on the outside. It's like, you can't hide who you are. Who you are and what's going on for you is going to come out somehow, somewhere.
I am with my lover, and we sleep in. So there's no like having to get up or like jump up and do work. He rolls over and embraces me, and he takes me from behind. And it's so nice. Like, I put like, we have awesome good morning sex, because morning sex is awesome. We meditate together, which is something I've never done with any man. And then we go and we have coffee, and then we have sex again on the island in the kitchen. Like we're sort of half robed. I imagine like these beautiful balcony doors. They're open and it's a beautiful day, and we go out to enjoy our coffee and the view, and it's sunny. We watch like butterflies and hummingbirds come, and it's just like this gorgeous view. We really enjoy it together. We decide, okay, let's get our day on. Let's go do this. And so we put on our workout clothes and we go hiking. We hang out with our friends, and then we go home and we do creative projects, our work. We cook together, share wine, host some more friends for cocktails. Lots of booze and sex going on here. And then we curl up together and fall asleep together in each other's arms.
So, Scott, when we talked about the requirements, of course, that was a black and white issue, yes or no, something that you can't live without, that you must be absolutely happy.
No gray area.
No gray area, non-negotiable. So you have to feel very, very strong about them and be very dedicated to that requirement. Because if you decide, to give a little slack to someone and that requirement's not there, it's usually like a deal breaker in the relationship. So, there's two types of needs. There's functional needs, which are required to make the relationship work beautifully. There's everyday things to make a relationship work. And then there's the emotional needs, what you need to feel loved. And you define those. So do you want to just give a summary of those?
Functional needs, somebody who's well groomed. That's a plus.
Okay.
Neat and tidy, because I'm a slob enough. I don't need somebody else who's a slob also. Somebody who's active is a functional need. Somebody who's open. That's where I dropped the open, so we can.
Open communication is there
open
now.
Communication.
Okay.
And care with money.
Okay, so Scott, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
One of your requirements was monogamy, and now you're under emotional needs, loyal. So what is the difference between the two for you?
Well, monogamous is just what it is. It's you're only with that one person. But like there's a difference between love and sex. To me, that at that point of being monogamous, love and sex go together. So that would
that
be
exclusive relationship.
You're together like married. Boom, together. To me, it's like, God, this sounds so awful, but Shelby and Alex are loyal. My dogs are loyal. They're there for me when I need them. That doesn't mean that has anything to do with being monogamous. That has to do with being loyal towards me. Let's see, my perfect day would be waking up in the morning on a boat and having coffee with my partner. I like the word person instead of. So breakfast on the deck, and we're just standing there watching the dogs swim in the water, go swimming, do whatever we do during the day. Nothing at all. No, there's no schedule. There's no nothing at all. It's just wow. And I just looked at it and I thought, that's my perfect day. One Fine Day. That was my favorite movie.
In my life, I've struggled to understand love and relationships, not having a good start growing up, which propelled me into my profession. While I'm quite competent helping others, I'm still on the path of finding lasting love for myself. That said, here's what I want, and I will not settle for less than strong chemistry. I've learned how the law of attraction works. I've learned that the universe will give you exactly what you ask for. And if you are wishy-washy, you say, well, this will be okay, that'll be okay, or, as Michelle put it, it will depend upon the guy, then the universe is going to either give you everything you ask for or nothing what you ask for, because what can they give you?
I've had no plan. For 6 years, I've just been like, yeah, and I'm single. I don't want to be single, but I'm single, with no real action steps or plan to put it together. I am the open-hearted, edgy, rock and roll, spiritual gypsy goddess who uplifts, inspires, and teaches others to take inspired action, be open-hearted, compassionate, and to let go of hurt and pain to heal themselves and be generous and charitable with all living beings.
And so that's good practice right now for you to look at your friendships and figure out who's in alignment with who you are, what you want, and where you're going.
Yeah.
And to make some choices and decisions and put some boundaries in place around the people that exist right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And practice those skill set there, as well as practicing your skill set when you're actually looking for a partner. So what's so scary about you shining this light, this light of the rock and roller gypsy?
Well, if we look at some of these past relationships, family and friends, I think some of that fear is that, that clears out so many, people that I'm used to and comfortable with, and what happens then? It feels like it's like this huge jump into this, unknown territory. And all of this that I thought was me maybe isn't.
Okay.
Or
So what would it take for you to play big?
Leonardo DiCaprio. And I love that I'm diving into things that I was aware of, I've touched on before, but really trying to release these blocks.
One of my favorite ways of thinking about the law of attraction, my favorite quotes in the whole wide world, is Henry Ford, who said, whether you believe you can't or you can, you're right. And that's just his way of saying, whatever you believe, you can achieve. We create our realities simply by what we believe. We end up putting it out there. The good news is, since we're creating the problem that way, we can change that. We're powerful beings enough that we can make the decision and change it. Our reality changes, our outcome changes. And that's probably the best and most powerful way to leverage the law of attraction, is because we're doing it to ourselves, we can undo it, we can do something different at any moment. There's a principle here for all of us, which has to do with the power of clarity. And that when you're clear about what's going on, you can make a decision about it. Scott, you made a decision to be positive. Oh my God, what's going on is, my first thought is negative all the time. I don't want to do that. Simply made a decision, I'm not going to do that anymore.
The biggest challenge for me is allowing this to be about me.
Relationships can only happen in the moment. And what we're really looking for is connection, right? So we have a really, really fun exercise. We're going to have a field trip. And your job on this field trip is only connect. So 3 things. Only connect. Go where your energy wants to go. And just be fully present in the moment.
I had a damn blast. I had so much fun. I love to just randomly talk to people.
You know, interacting with somebody, I just like finding somebody to interact with, and I'm just like, it's too forced. It has to be more organic for me.
What happened? When you gave us this assignment, I was like, whatever. I'm one of those people that talk to people everywhere I go.
So I kind of sat quietly, but what I intentionally did was not get on my phone. Instead, I'd have kind of a thought and write it down.
Initially, fine going up and trying to a couple situations, but I didn't want to ask somebody a question while they were taking a bite of their food and then when they were on their phone.
So I wasn't planning on sitting next to him. I was going to go out into the food court. And then he saw me walking by and he's like, do you want to have a seat? And I was like, sure. So I sat down, we started talking.
And I have to tell you, at that moment, I was kind of like hating all of you, because one of the things I want removed from my life is eating meals alone. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this sucks.
But I just kept looking up. And so what was fun was one after the other, I saw people wearing t-shirts that said love, and they were all walking towards me.
I walked through the door for 2 reasons. My commitment to you, of being open and just doing what I need to do to focus, and because I thought you'd kick my butt.
I was talking about trying to find a new place to live and how expensive rents are. And he said, yeah, I know. Like, my fiance and I decided to move in together. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh, congratulations.
I'm a big, symbols of the universe. I have hundreds of dream dictionaries and books of symbols. And so I was like, okay.
I was attempting to do it, but possibly I wasn't able to do it.
You know, they say when you don't make a choice, then the universe either makes the choice for you or doesn't like really give you a choice because you're just here.
I think if you just approach people in a really open way, most people will respond to that. Not all.
Let's face it, life gets in the way, we get scared, we don't want to take risks, we procrastinate, we delay, we get busy. So a coach is our partner that keeps us on track, taking those baby steps, keeping our forward motion in action. Without forward motion, we're going to stay stuck. I want a relationship that brings out the best in me as I bring out the best in my partner. This might mean challenging each other a bit. I do like a challenge. But it mostly means loving and supporting each other with positive energy, believing in each other 100%, getting each other so that the relationship is safe and emotionally free. I'm complete as I am and can give myself all of these things. However, I value partnership, committed life partnership, and despite all of my failures, have not given up on my romantic dream to be married and grow old with my soulmate.